I'm telling you, I know this one. This one is unlikely, maybe not on many people's radars, and it's certainly have a hard time comparing it to these massive 100-hour experiences like Tears of the Kingdom and Baldur's Gate and Starfield and all the others. But this falls squarely into what you were advocating for earlier, Vic, with a game that's short, a game that's focused, a game that's cheap. This is $20 on Steam. It's also on Game Pass. This is a game called Cocoon.
It's on Game Pass. Good
get. It is on Game Pass, yes.
That's great. Yeah.
And it is the newest game from a new developer that it was born from some of the folks from Playdead. In particular, I think two of the designers that worked on Limbo, which is one of my favorite games of all time.
Unforgettable game, Limbo.
Oh, yes. I think this game, Cocoon, is also in that echelon. It is an unforgettable one for me. Yes.
I've downloaded it. I haven't even looked at it because of all the other stuff.
Good. Yes. It's so good.
Can you explain?
I did play it at Summer Game Fest, though, and it was profound. It was beautiful. In the sea of really cool games that we get to demo, that's the one that I was like, wow, that was really freaking cool.
It has so much identity, so much personality. Oh, you don't get it. Okay.
You play this writer, and there's this mystery that you have to. Okay,
you're doing puzzles that aren't puzzles. No.
Hey, when you play Alan Wake 2, everybody, when you play Alan Wake 2, go back and listen to this episode and be like, "Damn, I don't think I could have explained it better than Christian could have."
I'm not trying to throw shade. I was just trying to find my way through it.
Same.
All right, Cocoon. This is a must play. If you have Game Pass, I know we have, like I said, an abundance of riches. There's going to be games that elbow out this one, but it is worth your time. This is not a long game. You can probably do it in a couple of sittings, 3 maybe. And it is very much worth your time. It harkens back to one of my favorite underappreciated games in the last 10 years, which is a game called Hob, which I loved and was such a bomb that the studio that made it was disbanded. But Hob is a brilliant, wonderful game. And this reminded me of it. I think Cocoon is even better than Hob in what it accomplishes. But basically the idea of Cocoon is it is a top-down isometric puzzle game with boss fights. That's the top level thing. You don't have any real combat in the game until a boss fight, and then the boss fight is very clever. And this game is played entirely with a single button. You push one button the entire time, and you move your little character around, and it accomplishes this amazing level of immersion and interactivity with just those very sparse elements. The other thing that it does so amazing is it communicates its vocabulary to the player so effortlessly. Like these very complicated systems,
geometric, esoteric images.
So you're in this sort of like insectoid world, but it's also kind of robotic. So you're in this kind of, if everything has tentacles and kind of, spindly bits and there's a lot of detail in the world, but it's also kind of like cybernetic and very, very cool aesthetic. I mean, so awesome. And I
Great
love
music
how
and sound too, right? Like that all envelops you when you're playing the game.
And anything you do that affects the world is so satisfying. Stuff like unfolds and bends and moves and peels back. And like anytime you get to do a thing or move to a new place, the way that happens is very pleasurable to me. I love it.
Yeah.
You like get
like
a thing.
Origami.
Origami or like, you'll get a thing and then it'll break apart and little bits land everywhere, but there's a kernel of something awesome and you pick that up and the sort of whiz bang mind bending mechanic of it all is that there are these spheres that you as this little winged moth looking character pick up and move from place to place. And like many games that we've all played, the sphere, when placed in the right spot, will affect the world. You place it on a little node and it'll maybe open up a door or it'll cause a bridge to materialize that lets you move to the next place. So you're moving these orbs and placing them on nodes and figuring out how to get them from place to place. Your little character can sometimes fit through crevices, but the orb is too big if you're carrying it. So you can get there, but you got to figure out how to move the orb around. Stuff we've done over and over.
Yeah.
The trick here is that the orbs are also levels, little worlds. You're literally carrying around a little world, a little game level that your character can pick up and move from place to place. And on certain nodes that you place them on, you're able to leap into that sphere and go into that level. And the way that is articulated in the game, the way it's visualized, is so rad. You like your guy like goes and gets sucked into that world, and that world like envelops the screen. So slick, so cool, so satisfying, like everything in Cocoon. But so that
we should have smoked up before we did this.
You didn't?
No. Did you not hear me describing Alan Wake 2? Like where?
This is the perfect.
That's how we.
Let's go.
How we record this podcast. Anyway, so you have these little levels that you're carrying around. So the fact that you can jump in and jump out of them, this creates these sort of layers of reality. You're leaping into this sphere. Well, then inside that sphere, you can find another sphere. So you could leap into that, or you could pull that out one layer and leap out of the sphere you're in, bringing the sphere that you discovered in there out with you. So you can like switch the stack of layers and move things around. So the game gets really smart and starts creating these puzzles where, oh, I can't get from here to there. I can't get my sphere from here to there. But if I literally pack the entire world of that sphere inside another sphere, I can move that one. And so you start thinking about these layers and like, oh, if I back out and move to another node with that world in it, when I go back into that world, it'll be in a different place. Again,
let me try
trippy.
to put like a Hollywood mogul. Let me try to put 3 different ideas that may add up to something like this, because this sounds like nothing else has ever been close to this. But I think like it's a merge of Xevious and Zelda and Monument Valley. If you squished all of those kinds of concepts into a game, you got a little bit of what this feels like.
Well, there was a game whose exact title escapes me, but I think it came out last year called like the box game or the game of boxes or something we talked about on the show, where like you move a box, but you can go inside the box as well. And so
that's
you move
cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so it reminded me of that too. But the thing that's so magical about Cocoon is that concept is esoteric and weird and kind of hard to wrap your brain around. But in the context of the game, it is effortlessly communicated.
Right.
Effortlessly. Like
which is what Limbo did.
Yes, exactly. You immediately grok the vocabulary of this game.
Yeah.
It's verbs. Like you understand its verbs. And again, you play it with a single button, and the puzzles are so devious. And you'll walk into this room and you'll be like, oh, there's so many things in here. What do I even do? But then you just
how long did it take you to finish?
I don't know, 5 hours. It's not a long game. This is not a long game.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. That sounds
maybe
like
6. I don't know.
I have to stream that one for sure.
It is exquisite. I think aesthetically, it's one of my favorite like art direction accomplishments in a game. Like the art direction of Cocoon is in my pantheon of all time. Like it is.
Wow.
I love the way every little thing moves. The boss fights are awesome. And the cool thing about the boss fights is you never die in this game. You fight when you're fighting a boss and it gets you, it just kicks you out one level.
Right, back to the other world.
It just kicks you
Jeff,
up a level.
Definitely reach out to the developers and tell them this, because this game's going to get buried too. Like this is another
such
game.
A shame. This is a gem of a game. It is a beautiful diamond of a game. And it is like it's like a masterclass in game design. The way it communicates what you need to do and how you interact with it. It's utterly gorgeous, and I am so over the moon with Cocoon. And you start like it layers its complexity on, and the ways that you can start thinking about it. Were never really overwhelming. I got to the point where I'm like, oh my God, what am I even doing here? But it never, like, as soon as I started stepping through it, it's like, oh no, this completely makes sense.
Oh, that's great, man.
Yeah, and it's Yeah, go ahead.
Why do you bring a level? I think you talked about it a little bit, like, to clear a path. But I don't quite understand is why there. I'm assuming it's kind of like Portal. There is a solution. You're trying to get to an end, I'm guessing. But like, why do you bring a level into a level? Because isn't that just like a little pearl that you're carrying, or is that the geometry from the level now in the level?
The little pearl is also a key to open a door in the world. Like you have to place the sphere like you would, like you're playing Zelda and you found a magic rock and you have to place it on a pedestal to open the door. That's how the spheres work. So you're trying to get from place to place by bringing these spheres with you. They just also happen to be their own little worlds. So in that sphere, there's other nodes that other spheres need to be placed on. So it's like these layering of that. So you'll bring a bunch of spheres into place and you'll lock them into their little nodes and it'll open a door and you'll walk through that door and have a boss fight. And the coolest thing, I mean, I didn't even say this part yet. The coolest thing is when you beat a boss, it unlocks a new way to traverse the world. So beating a boss of a certain sphere makes that sphere able to, when you're carrying it, let you traverse the world in a new way. Like, for example, the first sphere you get is this orange sphere. And after you beat the boss of the orange sphere, when you hold it, will reveal hidden pathways that you can't walk on unless you're holding that sphere.
It's like a light. It's a total Zelda mechanic.
Total Zelda, right? Total.
Yeah.
And even Mario has that thing where you can walk on the pathway, but you can't see it unless you have the glasses on. So it does that. But so now there's pathways. So follow me on this. So now there's a pathway that I need to walk on, but I'm inside a sphere and the orange sphere is up a layer. So I have to find a way to like get up a layer, grab the orange sphere, bring it into a different colored sphere. So I'm able to use that traversal mechanic inside that lower layer. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Cocoon and Alan Wake 2.
Vic's digging it.
Cocoon and Alan Wake 2 both feel like can you have nachos without cheese style games, you know?
Right.
Like
yes. That's a paid DLC reference, ladies
The
and gentlemen.
spheres would be cocoons, though, yes? The sphere is a cocoon, no?
Yeah. I mean, I think that's the metaphor, yes.
Right? Yes?
Yes.
Instead of an insect coming out, it's a world coming out.
Right. Yes.
Dope.
Anyway, highly
So
recommend
cool.
this game. I think it is, if you liked Limbo, if you like that sort of short, very concentrated puzzle experience that will blow your mind and make you, there's a number of moments in Cocoon where I was like, that's one of the coolest things I've ever seen in a video game,
Dang.
And just the way it looks, the way it moves, the way everything is animated, there's the clever little puzzles. It's very, very cool game. So
we're up to 35 Game of the Year contenders for 2023.
Yep.
That's